Good morning, friend. Today we will discuss a very important short note in biochemistry, that is phospholipid. This is one of the most frequently asked question in exam as a short note. All of you know the definition of lipid. These are the heterogeneous group of compound related to fatty acids, soluble in organic solvent and not soluble in water. They are known as lipids. Lipids are classified as simple, complex and derived lipid. This phospholipid, this is a complex lipid or compound lipid. What is the meaning of complex or compound lipid? In addition to fatty acid and alcohol, they also contain another groups. For example, here phosphoric acid is present, that's why name is given phospholipid. And in addition to this phosphoric acid, nitrogen base is also present. So phospholipid, it is a compound lipid. It contains fatty acid, alcohol, phosphoric acid and in some nitrogen base. Depending upon the type of alcohol present, they are again divided into glycerophospholipid and sphingophospholipid. For example, this glycerophospholipid, it contains glycerol as an alcohol. All of you know it is a 3-carbon alcohol. While the another sphingophospholipid, it contains sphingosine as an alcohol. This one is a amino alcohol with 18 carbon. And only example of sphingophospholipid is sphingomyelin. So this is glycerophospholipid contain glycerol, sphingophospholipid contain sphingosine as a alcohol. And in phospholipid they contain fatty acid, alcohol, phosphoric acid and nitrogen base. Coming to the structure, this glycerophospholipid, it contains glycerol. To this glycerol, two fatty acids are attached at C1 and C2. Fatty acid. Then there is attachment of the phosphoric acid or phosphate, and to this phosphate there is attachment of nitrogen base. So this is the structure of phospholipid. This is the simplified structure of phospholipid. You can draw this structure in exam. The structures are not mandatory for UG, so don't remember the structure. Remember this simple formula for phospholipid. It contains glycerol, two fatty acids and phosphoric acid attached to the C3 carbon, and to this phosphate group there is attachment of nitrogenous base. In sphingophospholipid, sphingosine is an alcohol. This one is the amino alcohol and it is a long chain alcohol, sphingosine. The fatty acid is attached to the C1 and the linkage here, this linkage is amide linkage. And here the linkage is ester linkage. In sphingophospholipid the linkage is amide linkage. There is phosphate or phosphoric acid as it is a type of phospholipid, and to this phospholipid there is attachment of nitrogen base. In sphingomyelin the nitrogen base is choline. The only example is sphingomyelin. This structure, that is sphingosine and fatty acid, this structure is known as ceramide. This is one of the most frequently asked MCQ, that is, what is ceramide? It is a sphingosine plus fatty acid. To this ceramide there is attachment of phosphate and choline and it forms sphingomyelin. So these are the examples of phospholipids: phosphatidic acid, lecithin, cephalin, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylthreonine, phosphatidylinositol, phosphatidylglycerol, cardiolipin, plasmalogen and platelet activating factor. These are the glycerophospholipid, and this one is the sphingophospholipid, that is sphingomyelin. These glycerophospholipids are again divided into nitrogen base containing, non-nitrogen base containing and ether containing, ether linkage containing. So this one phosphatidic acid, this one is the simplest form. It is a precursor for all phospholipid, that is phosphatidic acid. Then these are the nitrogen base containing lecithin, cephalin, phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylthreonine. These are the nitrogen base containing phospholipids. Then these phospholipids does not contain nitrogen base, that is phosphatidylinositol, glycerol and cardiolipin. And this plasmalogen and platelet activating factor, they contain ether linkage. Instead of this ester linkage, there is ether linkage in plasmalogen and platelet activating factor. Now coming to the short discussion of structure of phospholipids. So this one is the structure of phosphatidic acid. It contains phosphate. No nitrogen base is present in phosphatidic acid. It is the simplest and acts as a precursor for all other phospholipids. The first one is over. Now coming to the lecithin, the another name for lecithin is phosphatidylcholine. The another name is lecithin. Here the nitrogen base is choline. The another example of lecithin is dipalmityl lecithin. In dipalmityl lecithin, at this the fatty acid is palmitoyl. In dipalmityl lecithin, the fatty acids are palmitoyl. Two palmityls get attached to this one position and C1 and C2 to give dipalmityl lecithin. Now coming to the cephalin. The another name for cephalin is phosphatidylethanolamine. And the nitrogen base is ethanolamine. The another name is cephalin. Then phosphatidylserine. In phosphatidylserine, nitrogen base is serine. In phosphatidylethanolamine, the nitrogen base is threonine. So these are the four phospholipids with nitrogen base, that is lecithin, cephalin, phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylthreonine. Now coming to the phospholipid which do not contain nitrogen base. For example, phosphatidylinositol, this contain inositol, that is myoinositol. This is the structure of phosphatidylinositol. Then in phosphatidylglycerol, there is additional glycerol is here. And in cardiolipin, the another name for cardiolipin is diphosphatidic glycerol. Two phosphatidic acids are attached with the molecule of glycerol to form a cardiolipin. Then there is ether linkage. Here is the ether linkage in plasmalogen, and the nitrogen base in plasmalogen is generally ethanolamine. This is the structure of plasmalogen. And in platelet activating factor, the nitrogen base is choline. And linkage is also ether linkage. In platelet activating factor. So this is in short discussion of all phospholipids. Coming to the important functions which are related to the fatty acids. Important functions which are related to the phospholipids. We'll take one by one. The first one is the phosphatidic acid. Is a precursor. It is the simplest form. It acts as a precursor for all phospholipids. This is the first phosphatidic acid. Coming to the lecithin. The another name for lecithin is phosphatidylcholine. So it acts as a depot for choline. And choline, it is important in it has two important functions. The first one is the nerve transmission. And second one is the transmethylation reaction. So these are the two important functions which are governed by the choline. Okay, and this lecithin act as a depot for the reservoir for the choline and supplies the choline whenever it needed. Then another important function which is important to the all phospholipids, that is they are structural component of plasma membrane. Structural component of plasma membrane and responsible for the transport across the cell membrane. Then third, along with the protein, they form lipoproteins. So these lipoproteins are responsible for transport of lipid. Transport of lipids. Then fourth one, they help to dissolve cholesterol in bile. Help to dissolve cholesterol in bile acids. Then, with the help of enzyme lecithin cholesterol acetyltransferase LCAT, this lecithin converts this cholesterol into ester, cholesterol ester, and helps in reverse transport of cholesterol. Helps in reverse transport of cholesterol with the help of HDL. So this is the important function. Then it is a part of cytochrome P450 system and help in detoxification. Okay, and 7, it helps in digestion and absorption of lipid. So these are the very important functions of lecithin. The first one is it acts as a depot for choline to help in nerve transmission as acetylcholine and transmethylation reaction. Then component of plasma membrane. Then along with protein, they forms lipoprotein and helps in transport of lipid. Help to dissolve cholesterol in bile acids. Convert cholesterol into cholesterol ester, and with the help of LCAT and HDL helps in the reverse transport of cholesterol. And cytochrome P450 helps in the detoxification. It helps in digestion and absorption of lipid, and lecithin is also a part of electron transport chain and help in cellular respiration. And important example of lecithin is dipalmityl lecithin. We already discussed what is dipalmityl lecithin. Dipalmityl lecithin is a surfactant. The surfactant is composed of dipalmityl lecithin, cholesterol, and various proteins are there in surfactant. These surfactants are responsible to maintain the alveolar pressure. They prevent the collapse of the lung at the end of expiration, or they prevent the collapse of the alveoli at the end of expiration, and help to inflate the lung or help to inflate the alveoli. So in deficiency of dipalmityl lecithin, there is one disorder which is very important. You may get a case on this disorder, that is known as respiratory distress syndrome, RDS. This one is very important MCQ, respiratory distress syndrome. It is due to the deficiency of dipalmityl lecithin. The LS ratio, that is lecithin sphingomyelin ratio, is used to detect the fetal lung maturity. It is less than 1 when in case of premature babies, and when it is more than 2, it indicates the fetal lung maturity, because lecithin gets synthesized after 34 weeks. So lecithin concentration increases after 34 weeks. So LS ratio is used. This is also MCQ. This LS ratio, it is important to detect fetal lung maturity. Okay, so this is all about lecithin. Now coming to the cephalin, it helps in blood coagulation. Cephalin helps to convert prothrombin to thrombin. So important function of cephalin is it helps in coagulation. Converts prothrombin to thrombin. Then phosphatidylserine, threonine, they are part of the plasma membrane. Phosphatidylserine, it is a mediator in apoptosis, that is programmed cell death. Then coming to the phosphatidylinositol, this one is important because this phosphatidylinositol, it gives diacyl glycerol and it also gives inositol triphosphate. So these both act as a second messenger in hormone action. Both act as a second messenger in hormone action. Diacyl glycerol and inositol triphosphate, it is which is given by phosphatidylinositol. Then coming to the cardiolipin, it was first isolated from the cardiac muscle, hence the name is given. It is present in mitochondrial membrane, that is the inner mitochondrial membrane, cardiolipin. The major concentration is in the inner mitochondrial membrane. It is found in all tissue, but concentration is more in inner mitochondrial membrane. It is a part of cellular respiration, and defect in cardiolipin leads to the mitochondrial dysfunction. There is one MCQ related to the cardiolipin. It is responsible for antigenicity. And antiphospholipid or anticardiolipin antibodies are found in various autoimmune disorders. So this is the MCQ. Cardiolipin is responsible for antigenicity. It is found in inner mitochondrial membrane and it is responsible for mitochondrial dysfunction. The another name for cardiolipin is diphosphatidylglycerol. Now coming to, these are the ether phospholipids, that is plasmalogen and platelet activating factor. They are component of the plasma membrane. Platelet activating factor, it is released by the basophils, and the important function of platelet activating factor is it is responsible for platelet aggregation. Platelet activating factor, it is responsible for platelet aggregation and it is mediator in inflammation, chemotaxis and allergic response. So platelet activating factor, it is responsible for platelet aggregation and it is mediator in inflammation, then chemotaxis and allergic responses. And the 11th one is the sphingomyelin. This sphingomyelin, it is particularly important. It helps in the formation of myelin sheath of nerve fiber. So it helps in the nerve transmission and it is typically present in the brain or CNS, central nervous system, and in cell membrane it helps in the formation of lipid rafts. So this is all about the phospholipid. These are the examples of phospholipid. If you ask about the name and important functions of the phospholipid, enumerate the names and write down the function of individual phospholipid. You can remember most of the functions of phospholipid by remembering the individual phospholipid. So this is all about the phospholipid. It is an important short note and MCQ point of view. This is very, very important. There are various MCQs which are important in this topic. The first one is the respiratory distress syndrome. Then ceramide, it is composed of fatty acid and sphingosine. Then phosphatidylinositol, it acts as a second messenger. Then dipalmityl lecithin, we already discussed it is in respiratory distress syndrome. Cephalin helps in blood coagulation. Then these are ether containing, plasmalogen and platelet activating factor. And number of MCQs in cardiolipin. They present in first isolated from cardiac muscle, present in inner mitochondrial membrane, responsible for mitochondrial dysfunction and also antigenicity. various antiphospholipids antibodies are found against this cardiolipin, and they are found in the autoimmune disorder. So this is all about the phospholipid. Thank you all of you. Keep watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.